There we go. So I was like, I had this brilliant thought about an hour and a half ago, almost two, of, maybe I should quickly do one up because the stuff is going to take so long.
Right.
The cording. And so I was just like, well, yeah, this is as far as I got.
Okay.
But I didn't want to do this one in the first place for let's see if that did it. There we go. I didn't want to do this one because it's flippin' huge. I mean,
Yeah, really.
it's crazy. So this is the one that'll get the cording, and I thought, well, maybe if I can get it 3/4 of the way around, it wouldn't be so huge and I could finish it off. But so the key thing for me though too is that I have never done the loop the way I did it here. So it was kind of a test run for that. And I totally get it if you are like, okay, sewing this cording on is just way too boring and I gotta go. But I wouldn't blame you in the least. It's like, geez, this is where having just the fast forward really helps. So we're doing, and I couldn't show this stocking because the person that is receiving this stocking, her husband is on my Instagram, and it's supposed to
Okay.
supposed to be a surprise. So that's why I was like, I'll just go ahead and show that other one. I have to get that one done too anyway. So, we do the basics. We're going to be doing a velveteen. Just make sure that the nap goes down.
Yes.
My pet peeve.
Now, did she ask you to do it in red velveteen?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is from Joann's. It's that
Because that looks like the stuff I just bought.
it's the upholstery. It's like in the decorator section. It's kind of an upholstery kind. It's very lush and yummy, and I love it better than the cotton. Well, this could be cotton. I don't know what it is.
I don't know, but it has a backing on it.
Yeah, it's got the white, but I still put fusible interfacing on it.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And I like it because so the other day when we did the soft stand up, the problem with velveteen is when you're writing it, it can crush. So you can scar your velveteen as you're trying to write the fabric or write the needlepoint. And it's one of the reasons why I sincerely hate writing needlepoint. And that's why I came up with doing the mini stockings the way I did them.
Right.
It makes me nauseous. So the bean boot, or whatever boot that I had there, the ankle is so skinny that I'm cringing as I'm doing it. Now it's basket weave. It is like industrial. It wasn't going to hurt any of those stitches. But I'm telling you, some of these beautiful pieces that come through, they have the most decorative stitches. And I actually commented on someone's, I said, oh, I do not envy you finishing that. And she said, I know, I'm terrified, because it is. And there's nothing at a certain point in that ankle area. Ow. And then the toe, it just gets ugly.
So
So
you do this one differently, because part of me was thinking, is this just going to be like the mini stocking?
no,
Except I have 2 stockings to finish. So you're going to sew this together
traditionally, yep, I do a
and turn it
traditional
inside out?
sew and just write it out, and you can see how bugger. I definitely.
You told me saliva gets in the blood.
Yeah, but it's like I don't want to have to put a Band-Aid on, dang it. Because I
Oh,
don't want to. I don't want to have to dig for it in the toolbox that I took up to the class. I threw all my stuff in that box, and now it's in there. So anyway, it really, it is the same. If you know how to sew, you're gonna know how to do this. I do the kind of thing, hand blocking after I write it, to take out some of the ugly. And this one, this area did not want to block well. So I just was like, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. And we're just going to go for it. And if I got to do a pin out and maybe put a little more of the sizing on it, then that's what I have to do and let it sit. The only thing with doing what I'm going to show you later is you've got to be careful about when you do the steam and everything. If you have velveteen on the back, you cannot have anything underneath it. You cannot press down on it because it'll scar the fabric on the back. This is way more forgiving velvet, because it is an upholstery grade.
Right.
It just doesn't scar the same way. So I'm hoping this won't be too obnoxious. Like that. Not that you need this, but we have a few people that ask for it, so.
Okay.
Um,
And do you only sew? So the only thing I do is I was taught to take the first row of
I barely catch it.
Okay.
Barely. Because you're gonna, 90% of the time you're gonna cover it. Yeah. I'm going to, with this one, because it's 13 mesh.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to deal. So, I mean, I'm just catching, I try to catch like just the edge of the fibers. You really don't lose that much of a design.
Right.
But like with the stand-up that I did the other day, it wanted to where the darts were, because I dart everything, and I dart the whole stocking. I don't leave straight edges.
Right.
And so we had a few darts as I was going around that kind of wanted to, some short bits that wanted to pull up through, and was like, oh no, you don't.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely.
Self-welt this stuff? Do you ever self-welt?
No, I do not self-welt at all. I think it is evil, and I hate it.
Okay, why don't you just say what you think?
I know, right? Everybody's like, but it's so easy. I said, you know, you end up having to sew blind, and I just have, my OCD is so bad about not seeing any waste canvas, even if it's, you know, kind of hidden by that welt, that it just made me crazy. And I said, that's it. I'm not. I have plenty of other work that's handwork that I can do that I don't need to. This is kind of where I tend to not be hitting just the outer edge because the curves are just too hard.
Okay.
So, I mean, you do what, you know, anybody. I am definitely not a perfectionist when it comes to sewing. I am kind of, that meat and potatoes kind of person. I don't use any of the fancy stitches. I don't use, it just, and I keep my foot really loose because I don't want, when I'm on one of those curves, I want to be able to really dictate where it's going. The presser foot is not tight to it. And I never, I know that I don't do self-welt. So a lot of it for me is not needed. This is not a heavy duty machine. It is a very basic machine. I got this down in Orleans at the sewing machine place that's down there because that's where I got my monogram machine, but at the Centerville location. Now they closed that, so tough luck for me. But when I went down there, it was really funny because he's like, okay, so I have this and I had this and look at all the stitches. And I went, no, you don't get it.
I go back and forth.
I go back and forth, straight stitch. That's it. He went, oh, okay. I was going to get a new monogram machine, and he just was like, well, here's one for $4,000. I said, see ya. I'll just keep babying my old one because that's not happening. For what the kind of production I put out for tiny little monograms, if it finally dies, I'll go and get something from Joann's and, hack it out. Or go to the little embroidery place that's right in Hyannis and make them do it for me. The problem with that is that then you gotta wait and you gotta go back and.
But so that's been my biggest issue is waiting for monograms to get, I mean, my girlfriend is doing it, but it means back and forth and making sure it's the right size and the right colors and all that stuff. So.
Well, and that they understand how that you can't hoop it because and so then that's another whole other issue that they don't understand. And it's like, well, there's sticky back paper. You don't have to hoop it. The paper goes in the hoop and you peel it off like a sticker and you just stick the material on. So, it's so much. You can use little bits of fabric. You don't waste as much fabric trying to, think you have to do that. So we take 1/2 inch, just like with everything. I'll leave everybody along at the top for now. But yeah, it's tough to have to wait for those things when they are quick and easy. And then there's the whole, so mine is a Husqvarna, and it was on sale. They were basically closing the machines out. And it does both. It's a regular sewing machine, and it has an attachment that goes on to do the monogramming. But the issue with it is that the software you put in your computer, and it hold on.
Did you just take it off record?
No.
Oh.
No, I just pulled it forward so you could kind of see down low as well.
I thought you were going to say something snarky about Husqvarna. You didn't want it online. The computer programs are just so convoluted that it just didn't seem like.
Yes. So, well, what I had to do is shortly after I got it, Windows Vista came out.
Oh, jeez.
And it wouldn't work on that computer anymore. when with an upgrade. And so then I had to take over one of my kids' computers so that I still have that computer. It's set up, and that's all that's on it. It's not attached to the internet, so it can't ever update. So it's always saying, you should update. Yeah, not happening. And yeah, so it's like I just pray that the computer keeps going and that the machine keeps. And, you know, so somebody had posted, and again, Dart, the whole thing.
Right.
So someone had posted about Monogram, you know, I can't get this, da da da. And it's like, because the programs are all so different,
Yeah.
you can't help someone unless you have that machine.
Well, even if
And
I don't know, even if you have that machine, I was sitting with my girlfriend because she's down in Florida and she's going to teach me how to use it because she doesn't use hers very much. And I was like, this is way more effort than, like, this would take me twice as long as the finishing well.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And that's until you, and then if you're not doing them enough, you forget how to do it. And yeah, and then one of my issues is with that machine, when you do the monogramming, you have a button that you hit, a little lever that you kind of shift over so that your feet, not your feet,
the feed line
yeah,
underneath
yeah,
drops down.
they go away so that you don't have those, so that it can move freely and chug, 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 chug. I have replaced that piece for the top that moves the thing around 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've run it to death over the past, my goodness. See, I think I got it when Gretchen was 4, so 18 years old. But yeah, it's a. Someone said to me, "Can you come in here and show me how to use?" I just got this, and I went, "It's totally different than mine. Everything's on the console. It's not through the computer, so, and you have to learn how to be able to have the density of the thread be more, and so that it covers, the thread covers better, and your tension's got to be this." And it's just like, oh my giddy aunt. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of glad that I can't monogram my new line.
Nice. Oh, because they're glued
Because they're
up
on glass balls.
Yeah.
Or material. That's about the only one that I would probably be able to do it on. And that'd have to be pretty tiny. And my machine doesn't like tiny anymore. So for those of you that don't sew all the time, I want you to, more darts on the curves than is better. Because then it's going to have a nice curved edge, and you're not going to see weird kinks because the needlepoint canvas can't flex and bend because of the waist canvas not buckling or being able to buckle.
And one line of sewing around it is enough?
Yep.
Okay.
I can't say I haven't blown it out when I was trying to write it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it has happened. But for the most part, pretty good. Usually.
Especially for people who've taken like 20 years to finish the stocking, and so the canvas is kind of wonky.
Yeah. It's tough, you know. So I think they tried to have somebody else finish the boot before me, because they put a thin layer of either rabbit glue or the wallpaper paste on the back of it so that it wouldn't shift. I don't do that. I just...
Rabbit glue?
Oh, yeah. Made out of rabbit skins?
Ew.
Yeah. So back in the day when wool was the way, pretty much the only way, and wool is shifty, and people didn't use frames back then, and so they would come in and they would just it has a memory and it fights to get back to the way it was. So you can block it and block it and block it, and it can look gorgeous, and then as soon as you write it, or a little bit of humidity, and it's going to go right back over the other way. And it's just a nightmare. So what they used to do is they would block everything face down, which I never do that, because I want to see the stitches and I want to make sure all the stitches are straight. And with all of our fancy stitches now, that can be tough because one solid area of Krynic and you get all of that plastic and metal and it goes, yeah, I'm not budging. I'm not gonna. But so they used to slather it, the backs of them, and depending on who would do it, the finisher that was doing it, some of them came back like boards. They're pillows, but they weren't soft because it was just like tonk tonk. It's terrible. So eventually that started to wane as wool stopped being the go-to. And you can see where silk and ivory, it's one of the things that does not like to block. And
no, I have a brick here that I'm afraid to leave it much more than tonight because it's all silk and ivory and I've already blocked it like 8 times.
yeah, no, you leave it on the board until you got to do it. You just can't trust it. Just can't trust it. I did that earlier this year and I knew better. I knew better. And it was a tough one to block. And I had to go back and reblock it. So now I'm going to push all the waste canvas towards, because I want to tell it which way to go. I don't want it kind of getting weird and pointing towards the back because sometimes you can see these through the material depending on the thickness of the material. I'm not going to steam it down like I do ornaments, but I do go to this length, and I don't do the material side. I don't try to push that to the back. I just do this. Let's hope for a little easier. I'm serious. I was kind of making myself nauseous doing that last one. I'm like, I'm so glad they're not seeing me write this thing on camera because...
Oh, you mean the
boot? Yeah. I mean, I had my little... it's like, okay, get the butter knife. Okay, try this. And I mean, it was up to my shoulder trying to reach down in the thing. Okay. I am gonna cut it there. A little tick right on the corner. Not all the way in, but a little one.
Okay.
Now, it's going to be a lot of back and forth with the camera, so you'll have to look both ways. I've tried to do it where I grab deep in, and it's just like there's just no pretty way to do this. Oh, killing me. And then I start pulling on, and I look at the Velveteen and I go, don't do it. Don't get ugly. hate bending this. Then I gotta remember which way's the toe gonna go. That out. Let's get the butter knife, see if that'll help. Always keep the butter knife on the back side of the needle point. I'd love to think that, I know that's going to make you cringe too, but I've ripped through some fabrics when writing different things. Ugh, this long bow, long stitches, long stitches. Well, that was definitely not as ugly as it was for the other things, so
I've never seen that canvas before. The LL Bean booth.
Yeah, so CBK has it. Whose is it? Is it in Edie and Ginger? I think.
I've seen the little one. I've seen the little ornament one.
No, we have a big one like that, and it has a chickadee with a little tuft of pine needles, you know, pine next to it, and a pine cone, I think. So, so what I do is I take my knife and I put it right in, and I run it right around that edge within the waste canvas darts, and
Okay.
I press it out using that. Gotta turn that on just to kind of get a crisper edge to it. While this velveteen is beautiful, it doesn't give you a super crisp edge like you can kind of get with the other cotton.
Because it's so thick.
Yeah, because it's the upholstery, and it's really not meant to really fold hard edge. Okay. So now, this is where see, it does not, it's beautiful. It doesn't scar. Even if you think, oh man, there's a, nope, just give it a quick smooth. I wish they had more, I wish they had a better green. All they have is like this peacock aqua color.
Oh, yeah, that aqua color.
Yeah.
You know, last year I thought I looked in the spring and that they were past the velvets, you know, because of Christmas and stuff. I tried to find a light blue, like, you know, like kind of.
Yeah.
All they have is they're red and they have black.
And brown,
No,
red, black,
that weird blue.
wine. They have a wine, and they have the weird bluey peacock color.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see where a little bit where this is not real happy. So without really touching it, I'm just running this over. I do not think that the name is going to totally reblock because it just didn't want to in the first place. But you kind of press it and hold it until this steam and the heat cools. Worst case scenario, I have taken and could potentially, like I was speaking about earlier, and I actually will put a pin through the edge, a straight pin into my board, and just kind of angle. Don't go through the back material. Just don't go through the back material. You kind of got to roll it under and have that needle point hang there, and do the same thing on this side. Push that under so it'll be a little thicker, you know, in between, as you're pushing this under, there might be like a little arch there, but you can pull it and pin it through just the needle point and kind of give it a little spray. It's just that it doesn't, it's the vertical on this one that is
So,
just,
Kelly, I can't see, what doesn't look like it's blocked well?
so where I am, I can see I have a bump. Let me see if I hold it. See how
okay.
that A is kind of dropping right
Okay.
there? It was worse when I first blocked it, before I blocked it. But I just don't think that it's going to come out. And I don't think it would have come out even if I had, I don't want to say it. Even if I had gotten it righted correctly,
Yeah. You think it would have gone
I
back
think
in?
it would have gone back when I, even if I had it blocked correctly prior, I still think it would have, once the board was off and I gotten it sewn, just the turn was going to do it. Because it's like you said, that brick cover that you have, forget about it. It's just not happening. So
Yeah.
right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to make the hanger. Oh, where did I put my little short rope? It's bright green there. Okay. So it's kind of hard with the velvet in this respect because it gets really thick when you do what I'm about to do.
Are you going to turn this one too?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
It's gonna basically be kind of like a bias edge tape on a grander scale. And you just sew down the one side. So you'll get it in a minute. If I can pull it off with this, it was hard enough with the ultra suede a few minutes ago. I should have used my rotary tool. This is Velveteen, and I normally wouldn't do this because it has a tendency to scar the Velveteen. It's going to be a fold though, so it's going to be the edge of a fold, so it's going to look weird anyway, so let's just do it. See if it helps us be able to get it over. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Now, and I'm making it smaller anyway. The difficult part of this is dealing with that nap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I almost might press this.
Do you ever use the double-edged, double-faced,
The iron.
like
The,
stitch tree crap
yeah.
stuff?
Problem is, again, it's got a nap.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, you do it, and yeah,
Gotcha.
it's gonna do what it's gonna do. But this is gonna be buried, so I really don't. There we go. We'll just do that. Now we just have to remember how to put it through the machine so that we don't go against that nap. And have to do it again because it got really ugly really fast.
Do most clients send you the fabric they want you to use? Or they just tell you what they want?
So I had both, but the one that I did the most for, she sent me everything. She sent me the all of it. It was wonderful. Because I tell you what, nothing, we just got to get this pinned together. Nothing takes more time, and people don't understand this, than pulling fabric and finding the cording fiber that matches. And so she had a whole closet that she just kept filled, and it was beautiful. And I didn't have to go out and look for stuff, and unless she couldn't find something, but that was so rare, that I just didn't even worry about it. And sometimes, as fabric shops got a little harder to find high-end fabrics in,
Yeah.
and she would send me something that was just like cotton, and I knew that she didn't want it, but she just couldn't find the right color.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go into the stash, because the stash is, like all the leftover fabric. She didn't want little bits back. So I
Right.
kept a lot of it. I just kept it. And that way, if something came in and I had a boo-boo, which totally happens, it just wasn't a big deal. So now we're just going to sew down this. Now that we have our little piece of basically bias tape right there.
Oh, it's so nice to see how neat your OCD.
My floor is.
No, not the floor. Your thread.
Yeah, right? I'm only OCD about the finished product. I don't care about how organized my threads are. Oh, calling me out. Seriously?
I'm sorry. It's just my husband walked in. I told you I've been trying to set up a space.
Yeah.
So my husband walked in day before yesterday, and he just goes, "Oh my God!" and he walked out.
Is this because he has a very neat workshop? I mean, is he
No.
Well,
he thinks I'm like total chaos, and it really is, I have to say.
well, so when Christine walks by, she's like, I kind of don't even look when you've been working a lot, because there's stuff all over the floor and there's material everywhere. And I said, well, that's when I'm really busy and doing a lot, because I'm not putting the stuff away. It's terrible, but it's just how it is.
Well, I was asking everybody where they got their bricks and stuff, and some woman online said, "Oh, I just go to a construction site and ask them." I was like, "Okay, I'm in New York. You don't go around at construction sites and ask them for their building material." But I went outside the other day and I found one in my backyard. I'm like, what was the chance?
I hope you baked it for a while.
I did. I put it in. Oh, that was the other thing. My husband goes, "Do you know that there's a brick in the oven?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know that's been in there all day?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." Because some lady online said that there could be things in it. So
well, it can be. It's the moisture.
Right, but the bug thing was what really got me. I was like, ew.
I never had an issue with bugs, but I did have an issue with a brick once that came back to me because it had a little damp left in it. And so when it got to the customer, it was damp. And because they put it into a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And then, so, I shouldn't have done that yet. Doggone it.
Oh, sorry. Stop talking.
No. I just wasn't, I moved my camera when I should have waited. So now we're going to, while this is like this, as far over as we can,
Okay.
we're going to pin that on there, and we're going to go and sew it on. Has this got glue on it? Is that why? I just don't want to stab myself again and end up having to put a Band-Aid on.
Yeah, but the Velveteen is red. So.
Right. Right? We're all set. No worries. Okay, let's get you back over here. Make you nauseous again. So, now I gotta pop off my little arm thingy. Because we have to put it on like this. Okay, and I want to make sure that I'm trying really hard to see where the stitching is, because I don't want to really lose a stitch there.
Right, because it's the border. Okay.
Yeah, along the top. I don't want to do that because we already are going to have, you can kind of see, we're going to have cording going over it already. Now, I had never really done this before. I just sewed it in by hand. And I'm sorry, what?
The hanger or
yeah, the hanger. And so, but
it didn't fall off?
no,
Oh, okay.
not that I know of. You know, I mean, none of them ever came back to me because I'm sure it would have been a complaint from somebody. So, but when I was thinking about it today, I was like, it would be nice to be able to have one that I know is sewn on with a machine. And when I tried to think about how to do the second one, I just went, I just don't know how to do that and have it be, because I don't know where it's gonna fold, and that I'm not to that stage yet. So I just wasn't gonna take a chance.
Okay.
And so we have at least one that is golden. And we don't. It's funny that I have this many stockings right now. It's only because I have friends that need them done,
And then we'll get them back until next year for everybody else.
yeah. One of them actually is like the last piece to do for that shop that I no longer am with because they're out of business. So, and I have lots and lots of band ornaments coming in, and they are going to be out by Christmas, so, or Hanukkah, depending on which one it's for. So those videos will be next week. I'll be doing those as free viewable because they're so easy. If people think they can't do it themselves, they're silly.
Yes, but all that business you're going to lose.
I don't need to be married to finishing them. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Hello, this is exactly what I think of about the lobster traps ornaments. It's like, ugh. I'm married
I
to
was
them
I was
forever.
today looking at dowels, and I was thinking of you. I was like, oh my god, I can't imagine cutting these things.
So now what I do is I steam the top edge over. I'm sorry, you're not going to have a great view of this. But just like with the rest of my ornaments when I do it, and I am giving it a little, letting a little weight on it because I really want it to be a nice edge for this. I chose a fabric that is for lining that is decorative, but will give me a nice crisp line because I know this will not. This is just, like I said, one of those fabrics that it's not meant to have a hard pressed line on it. So it just doesn't stay where you want it to stay. Like when I was working on the bean boot, it was making me mad because the darts for the back side just kept popping up and popping up. It's like, stay where I tell you to stay. Not happening. So how do you feel about doing lining and that? Do you do many lined pieces?
So the only lined pieces that I finished
Yep.
have been the mini stockings. But I've lined enough things, other things in like stockings that weren't needle pointed.
Got you. Good. So
That's where I started too. So
right. So I don't go all the way down to the hard line when I'm doing the fabric. I dart about an eighth away, maybe even a quarter. It just gives it just enough space to let it, it's not as bad when it is the material. When it's bad is with, well, number one, this is an angled piece. I mean, if you try to hem a pair of pants like that, forget about it. Well, I don't have much luck, and I just end up wanting to staple them up and leave it. But I know, right? I'm terrible. But with the needlepoint, I don't know if you've ever seen it where somebody has left the thick, the waist canvas and just, they don't dart it, and it's even a straight belt. It's the same thing. It does these, you go to bend it around something and it kinks on the back side because it can't bend.
Oh, yes, I've
hat bands and yeah. And so it's like and I think it was Tammy, she did a bracelet and she was like, I should have done the darts, but I thought I knew better,
That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is she? She's not up by you, right?
No, I think she's in Florida. No, that's Chris. I forget. Pennsylvania? Where is she? She was on vacation recently.
We were giggling about something, and I was like, really? I was going to say, where the hell are you? But I
well,
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
I have I have 5 grandchildren, and if you have to needlepoint any of them, a needlepoint stocking, because the thought of doing it it's just more than I don't know.
Yeah.
But I bought toppers.
Yep. They're a pain.
That was the wrong answer.
I'm sorry, but I did one for someone and I was like, I hate this. It took me 10 times longer than this to finish. Because, and somebody might say, well, then you didn't finish it right. I lined the back because, it lifts away. But some people, they just do it and then they stitch it to the face of the velvet that's underneath it. I didn't do that. I didn't think it looked right. So, me and my...
Even with this, I wasn't sure if you were going to use the Pellon.
Oh, I want to. I want to so bad, it's not funny, because it would make life so much easier. But when you think about little kids and the flex of it, and, if you want to put anything in that, needs a little expanding, it's going to do weird stuff. And so I said, nope, I'm not going to It's just got to be traditional, unfortunately, because boy, I would have loved that on the bean boot. I mean, it could use it. You could do it that way and just use a even lighter weight one, you know, lighter weight interfacing than the Pelon 70 or whatever it is.
Right, that's whatever the stuff is. Yeah.
Yep. I love that stuff. I use that stuff so much. Somebody sent me a thing that looked like a tube of sunscreen, and they wanted it to look like a tube of sunscreen, and so that's what I used in it, and I stuffed it, and then I put a round bottom in it, in where the cap was, so it was like a little stand up. It was so cute. It looked just like that. So then it was like, oh, well, maybe I should do this for other stand-ups.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
if they would stand up, they wouldn't be wonky, right?
Right. Right. So I thought of doing it for the one that's this weekend, the last weekend, the 21st, that's the tree. Because then you don't have to write any of it. But I might test that out between now and then. I got 5 of those suckers to do. So, yeah, right? So if I can get one of them to work, then why not? All right, so it's got a stripe. I want to make sure.
Is that cotton or is it a taffeta?
It is it's a decorator fabric, so it's like heavier.
Oh.
You know, like those tea towel-y material?
Oh, yeah.
And then it has that little fleck of metallic going through. I don't know if you can see that on there or not.
Yeah.
So, but it kind of went with the colors. So I decided to do that for that. And then we always mark where our top is by doing that. And just go right around it. And this is the same way we do the mini stockings and how I do eyeglass casings, etc., etc. So now we come in 1/4 of an inch, and what I do at the top to make sure it can get back over to where this opening is, I don't just come in 1/4 of an inch there. And I'm going to use something, don't everybody gasp, because you're never going to see it. So this is where the top actually seam is, okay? But if I just come in here like this, you're going to have a gap there. So what I do is I put a little angle like that, and then I come down and do roughly 1/4 of an inch. It doesn't have to be a full 1/4 because the bigger ones have a little more play inside of them, whereas the mini stockings, you gotta give it a little more room because there's just not that much room in those mini stockings. And when I go around and do the cording, I try to grab at the bottom the lining so that it's tacked down and they can't pull it in and out.
Gotcha.
You know, especially little kids. Those darn little kids.
I know, they're just very creative.
They are there's a way that they can pull it apart, it's going to happen. Look at this. Poof. Oh, nice. You know, sometimes I don't pin it, but as soon as I don't pin it,
It moves.
it moves, and I have regrets. It's like it's just not worth taking the chance. I like to have my cutting mat under here, but the camera likes to hyper focus on all of the little cross sections on it, so.
Yeah.
Feels like it takes longer like this, but whatever. So the lining inside the other piece is a plaid, and I tried to be.
You tried to match the plaids?
Let's see how well I did. Yeah, they match. They come together, and but as they go down, the horizontals, I can't guarantee those are anymore. Because I kept trying to line them up, and I'm like, okay, you're making yourself crazy. Nobody's going to see down in the bottom of that boot.
Yeah, that was above and beyond.
Yeah, just make sure they line up at the top vertically. We're not going to care about the horizontal. So with the cording today,
So did you make the cording for this one?
Yes, and it's the one that I put online that shows the difference between the one that I did in the video and the
the 3/8 and the
yeah. And so you know, if you want to see how I make long cording,
yeah,
that's in that video. I was like, if I don't do some of this stuff, I'm never getting home tonight.
Yeah.
Because unwinding all of that, it just takes forever. So everybody will get a link to that video as well. For as much as, and I am so bad about, because my presser foot is so loose, that sometimes I get down to the curve end and I get these weird little notches where it doesn't quite turn as smoothly as I want it. Oh my gosh, the bean boot. It's like, oh, that looks terrible. It looked like
inside the boot.
Yeah, thank God. And it was funny because it looked a lot like an elf shoe. By the time I got done with it, I was like, wow, you look like a pointy little elf instead of a boot. Wouldn't know it. I really like this machine. The one thing I don't like is that it's either you choose the needle to be up or down. You can't just budget and have it be part way. So you either have to commit to being up or down and push the button again to get it, or the knob on the side to get it to turn.
You know, that's not a bad aspect, because frequently, you know, if you stop the machine and it's halfway, the fabric slides.
Yeah, I know, but there are times where I'm like, I can kind of inch along, you know, stitch by stitch it, and it just keeps coming down. It's like, stop that. So then I just have to roll it by hand in those spots now, instead of letting it.
I have the last metal singer that they made in 1974, I think, or 5.
Nice.
And It was the first computerized one that they.
Oh my gosh, really?
But it's, I mean, it's not computerized. I mean, it's computerized in that it has these little, I don't know, these things that go inside the machine. So it's not, it was before computers were out, but it has all these stitches that I have no idea how to do. But the last time I took it in, the guy said to me, "Don't ever hurt this machine." He said, "You'll never find anything like this again." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
It's like, so I
Yeah.
know how you feel about your Husqvarna.
Yeah, and so my niece has my mom's machine, and it is one of the metal ones, and I believe that
The
it's
tan one?
no, it's green, and it's from I think at least 67. And so but it's like this pale green, and it has a black tweedy looking case. It's it's so cool. But yeah, my niece has that. All right, so you gotta cut kind of close. Don't want people blowing out when they reach in, but we can't have too big butting up against the side.
You dark this one also, or no?
Nope,
You know.
no need.
Okay.
No, because it's just sliding in. So some of these areas have huge amounts of, not this particular one, but on the boot, I had a lot of interfacing that is on the fabric, and I will be heating that up and taking it off to be used on other material.
Really? You can use it again?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you just heat it up and it peels right off. You just run your iron over it, and as you do the corner, right as like the iron's on it, you get that corner heated up, and then you start to peel it off and just move your iron and peel up. It's not always easy as far as logistics of, it'd be nice to have an extra hand when you're doing it. But yeah, I do it. The only thing you don't want to do it to, I'm in class. Goodbye.
Kid.
No.
Oh.
Someone that should have remembered. I didn't think you had class tonight. That's why I couldn't pick Gretchen up. Yeah. It's okay. So, okay. See, they've all popped out again.
Oh, yeah.
So we just slide our hand in. Now, I do have a trick that you want to know about doing stockings and sewing cording on. And actually, I kind of use the same trick with my mini stockings, just on a less grand scale. All right. So let's, top one, we use the front as a guide and only do the top layer of the lining, because if for some reason the back isn't quite right, you don't want to have your back come up short. So cut that off. And now we're going to dart a little ways away, but close enough. It's probably a little big, but it's just because I have such a long piece of material there. Once this gets turned over, That's another thing we could have done, is turned it over now and then created a crease line. But it'll be fine. Lots of ways to get to the finish line. It's interesting to have that in there now. I'm not used to it being there. I'm going to go ahead and get it folded over now, just to look. And so it's out of the way for when we do the back side. Hopefully they should stay under because it's a nice kind of cottony. I say that and it all starts popping back out. Okay. Let's flip it. Pop it back out again. Okay. Now, I think do I not have, it is in there all the way. I'm starting to doubt that it's in there all the way because of how high I came out that angle, but that's okay. Not a bad thing. And again, we're just taking that off, giving it a little dart so it doesn't do a weird warpy thing. So hyper conscious about making sure I have it on record after all of the times I messed that up. Come on, stop being a troublemaker. Okay. That's okay. There, you go there, go under there. We're gonna make it meet the other lining because that'll help us keep it the way we want. Now we're going to kind of bring it up, and this weird point, we're going to shove it down in. Now, another pet peeve of mine is when the seams on the interior don't match the seams on the exterior. And sometimes I'm like, oh, how am I going to make that happen? It is my pet peeve. But it's all good. Because if for any reason you get a gap where it starts to get to be, you know, pop out, this area is going to have cording in it, and relatively thick cording. So what you can do is you can kind of start at this end and pin this way, and then do it from this end and come this way, so that if there is any left over here, you've left yourself a nice healthy space, not too healthy, hopefully. Sorry, this is so close to my face. I have to put my extra cheaters on. Roll that over so that you don't see the waste canvas. The less you have to hide, the better off it is. Pull that up a little.
So you're going to bury the cording in the top?
It's going to run right along the top edge.
But the ends, sorry.
Yep, the ends will go there and there. Because I start and finish them a little differently than most people. I don't start it with it going down and then go around. I start at one side, go across the top, down, around, same way I do my stand-ups, because I think that straight down, trying to take that cording straight in and then bending it over to go down is just too hard of a transition. Looks a little lumpy to me, so I tend to, like I said, do it a little. I've seen it both ways. I mean, you know, and I've tried it both ways. Sometimes it also depends on if it's toe right or toe left. That's another issue. And I totally just went backwards for what I just told you to do to be able to bury the cording and have a hole. Because see how it doesn't want to meet now? Yeah. It will. We'll pull it right up against it. Okay. And all we have to do is put this off to the side a little bit here. Ah, yeah. And we'll leave that little gap right there. So that gap that was there is now going to be right where our seam was. Dang it. I was trying not to push on it so that it wouldn't bleed. Of course not. I think it's so funny that you were on the list and yet you didn't get that email.
Yeah, no, that was, I thought you were right. I thought maybe I trashed it when I was looking through stuff this morning. And then I thought I saw it this weekend. But I wasn't sure when you sent it out, so.
Well, it's funny because I think sometimes so all I have to do is go into my Google Calendar and then I can
Send it off from there.
edit.
I have the applique for my bag.
Yep.
And I have Mary's unicorn.
Yep.
Or Margaret's unicorn.
Mary. Yep.
But I couldn't find the other one.
Yeah, and I think what it is when I do it on my phone, it doesn't always send it. When I say, when it says, oh, you edited this, do you want to send an invite to the person you just added? I feel like sometimes when it's on my phone, it doesn't do it. So I'm just going to have to be careful and make sure that it goes through my computer only. Now, I have to check this. You pull it tight to make sure that the front and the back are even. That's why I did this with the crisp material. So I'll bring the Velveteen up a little bit because I know that the lining is the correct height because I can't trust the Velveteen. So let's see if I can kind of do it like this for now.
Your stuff always matches.
What do you mean?
Because like when you cut out your ornaments, they always line up. There's never overhang. There's just
Well, I've been doing this a long time.
I got it. It just, I don't know.
And I'm a fuss pot. I'm fussy. I'm like ridiculously fussy.
I found myself this afternoon. I found myself rolling the edges. When you like kind of burnish the edges so that.
Oh yeah.
And I was cracking up. I was like, holy shit, this is bad.
Yep. That's how it gets. Crazy like me. I just get paranoid because I have done it where when it laid flat, it didn't match. And it was just so obvious when the cording didn't lay across correctly. I was just like, oh crap.
Yeah, the cording really accentuates stuff.
Yeah, mistakes. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, that is serious ugly right there. That just shows me how off that was. Yeah. Oh, come on. I don't know if it's the Velveteen that's. I try really hard not to go through because it will scar it a little. So I try to just grab the darts of the Velveteen in there when I'm putting these pins in. Not easy. It is not. And
is that Velveteen so vulnerable that if you put clips on it, it would
yes.
Oh, okay.
Velveteen, any velvet. You put the clips on it.
Velvet, yeah, regular velvet, yeah, but I was just wondering whether this was heavy enough that.
Nope. Nope. I don't see it being that tough. I feel like, especially if you're using foam core, that those clips dent that too. So, I mean, I know that they're probably not as hefty as I feel that they are, but yeah.
I put a little tiny ornament together and I couldn't get the pin in it. I stuck myself and so I put the clips on it and I forgot overnight. And so I had to take my little puller outer thing after I took the clips off to get the stitches back up where they belong.
Yeah. Yep. They don't understand that it does dent. Okay, I can kind of see. So this is what I'm going to have to really stitch that up against this because I can see the stitch line of the sewing machine. So we have to be aware that this gets stitched because it is right there.
Wait, the stitch line of what?
You see it? See that line?
Oh, loop. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, on the loop. So we definitely need to be careful that we get that sewn down as well.
Okay.
And yeah, now the boring part.
Did you find a better curved needle?
I did.
Whose is it?
It's if you want a smaller loop profile thing, to not put as big of holes in, it's CS Osborne. It's on my.
You put it on the list?
Yeah, it's on Instagram and it's on, because I'm still testing them out. The higher the number, the skinnier it is.
Yeah, the French. I know, it's always backwards.
So, this isn't something that I feel I need these for, but definitely are something that I need to start playing around with because, yeah, they definitely serve a purpose, especially on silks and,
Yeah.
you know. All right.
I really have been trying to use the curved needle, but I really am not good at it on, on ornament edges. So I've been stitching with a straight needle, but and I can bury it pretty well. But there's some things like this and the mini stockings that it just, I just need the curve. But the Dritz is thick.
Yep.
But the other one somebody posted was so thin it broke.
The bead one is terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to use that one. So for the top, I'll use the 2-inch, but when I put the cording on the side, I take big chunks, and even though it won't seem like big chunks because time will stand still while I'm doing it, you might want to take your, have your dinner or whatever while I'm doing it. But, but yeah, there's, again, purpose for everything. So I think I'm trying to decide where to start my, I like to start and end, but in the correct place. But I guess it doesn't matter because I'll just put this in where I like.
So you're
I'm going to have to get a new.
Closed and then do the cording after?
Oh, I always stitch this closed, yeah.
Okay.
Because if you don't, then with the cording being a little heavier weight,
yeah,
you have the potential. So knots are 1, 2, 3, and pull. And it'll pull right down over the first one that you did the exact same way, because it'll pull right through the needle point. We just do like that. Okay. Okay. So I like to keep the hold on a second. So this is where we elicit foam core. Have you never seen me do this before?
Oh, you're gonna. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wasn't sure. You're gonna stuff it. So
yes, we make it into an insert, but we do the bottom. We do all the way around, and then we do the bottom, and where the heck? We cut the foot off. It's a separate piece because otherwise it won't make that transition. Okay, so we put the tracing around, and we come in by like a little more than 1/2 inch, and I might have to. Probably have to edit this as well because I'll get it in there and it'll be way too tight. But you got to put it in multiple pieces. But it's still better than not having anything at all in there as you're trying to sew on the cording, and just as equally trying to sew around the top. So I'm going to guess about there. And see how that does. So you just put that. No, I can't make that turn. Now you have something in there to grab, and it's not this big loose, wimpy.
So, do you have the same problem when you do pillows? That that they're mushy and it's harder to get some resistance.
No, because they're stuffed.
Yeah.
I stuff mine. I mean, I stuff them.
Really hard, really hard.
Well, they're not really hard because of the stuffing that I use is this silky stuff that is very reboundy. But yeah, they're ultra firm. I don't want to see any weird dents and angles. And so just like when I do pillows, I always want to pull the material towards the needle point or towards. Okay, so we're gonna, even though you're like, well, this is material on material, I'm gonna go all the way around the outside, pulling the lining towards the piece. Okay, it's the same thing I do on a pillow. And we're gonna kind of start by cinching down that one spot that I don't want to take a chance that it shows. But yeah, those curved needles look really great for what we want them to go through. They're much thinner, but really the thing that makes the difference to me is you got to wear the grippers. If you don't have the good grippers, it just isn't going to make a difference because you can't. I lost my fingerprints because it just kept sliding through my fingers, and it's like they were so slick. It's like, okay, I have no fingerprints anymore. This isn't really a good thing. And so, and now, not that I'll have them much longer because now that I'm doing a lot more finishing, let's see, well, it kind of, my nails will probably break off again, but, it's like I've never had long enough nails. But to wear this, I'm not going to be able to do that long. I'll have to poke a hole in the end of it so that it won't compress my nail if I end up able to keep them for any length of time. I can always tell when I'm painting more because they actually grow.
Wait, they grow when you paint?
Yeah, because I'm not being rough on them. I'm not killing them and snagging them on material, and so I'm not destroying them. So they're actually able to grow. Not that that's something I really worry about but when my hands are in a video all the time, it's like, ew, yuck. That does not look pleasant, having nubby nails.
So you're taking one tiny bite of the
Yep.
needle point, and mostly going a massive
So
stitch.
you go, so on the back side, because it's two pieces of material, you literally have to do the ladder stitch.
Okay.
Whereas here, you can come in straight in through the needle point, and I go down, run it a couple stitches, and I just grab the back.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
See? Like
Yeah.
that. So it's just one pull instead of having to go, okay, I'm coming up here on this side,
And then going in the other
and
side.
then doing the ladder stitch the proper way and grabbing here. The needlepoint side, you can kind of do that. Grab one, go, grab one, go, or grab a couple.
You're off camera.
Am I? Oh, sorry. Scooch over a little. There we go. So I have one, so when you watch the recorded version, the picture's in the bottom right. When you're watching here, it's in the upper left. So it's like, oh, it looks fine on the recorded side. Oh, whoops.
So the one you're using right now is the new needle?
Nope, it's the Dritz.
The Dritz? Oh, okay.
Sometimes, you know, I personally, unless it's going to leave, I'm covering this up with cording.
Yeah, no.
If it's when you're leaving that edge and you want no profile there, you want to see as little needle going in and out as possible, and it will make a huge difference when you're sewing on backing that will run, because it needs as skinny of a needle as you can get to go between those fibers and not break them. So they're definitely, I almost want to say, hey, can you send me a sample pack or a sample sheet with one each on it so I can see what all of them are like? But
how
didn't.
many different sizes do they come in?
Oh, you go on their website, they have a ton of different sizes.
Wait, is that the British company?
It's in New Jersey.
Oh, it's in Jersey. No, forget.
Jersey or New York or something like that.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, New Jersey. Harrison, New Jersey. I'm just glad they, Googling it, found me something. Because I find that thoroughly annoying that you can't find decent.
Well, when I Googled, the only thing that came up was the Dritz, and then there was a beading one, and then there was an embroidery company in UK.
Yep. Yep. I don't know how I got so lucky, but one night when I was on and I had my laptop with me, and bam, there it was. And actually, you know what I went on was eBay.
Oh, really?
It was on eBay, and there was one on Amazon, and I Googled the company, and they had all of these different sizes. I was like, whoa. I mean, you can tell that some of them are 2.5, and these are, you know, so not all of them are the 2-inch, but there are some 2.5 that have the smaller profile as well. The thinner gauge, I should say.
Yep.
Definitely not like what you're used to, but from being a midwife.
Well, although sometimes the okay, that's gross. Sometimes you needed a thicker gauge to hold the tissue. So.
Yep, that makes sense. But that's always the joke, is the family's like, oh, well, I know who I'm coming to for stitches. I was like, do you see how thick this needle is? I don't think you want that.
Unless you're doing really, with a lot of lidocaine.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you're that tough.
No. But I was so used to using a driver.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't. So Ethicon makes a flat end so that you can put the driver on it.
Okay.
These needles are all round.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the driver won't hold them. It snaps the edge. It snaps the eye off.
Yep. I can see that. So, yes, now I have an annoying seam that looks like it doesn't match up, but once we get the cording in there, it will.
So, do you leave a gap?
Yes. You got to jump this area, because it'll be in here and it'll be in the opposite seam as well. So we're going to jump there, and this is when we start doing true ladder stitch. and hold it together. And the finer it is, the better it is.
Right.
Little stitches. Hiya. Get back up here.
How come your thread doesn't keep coming out? Right, that was a rhetorical question. Don't laugh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does.
No, mine just comes out all the time, and it gets all wormy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, all it takes is one little kind of weird entry, and next thing you know, it's doing the weird spaghetti and it's twisted itself, and it's like, I'm just gonna knot this and get a fresh piece because this is gonna make me nuts. The thing you have to be careful of is not to over pull, because you'll do a gathering on the back. So
Okay.
this is where you do the light touch for tugging on it. And it's hard because in my head, it's like constantly cording. Yank, yank, yank.
Yeah,
No,
right.
nope. And that's why I like having the board in here, so when I am doing the cording, it prevents it from gathering like that,
Mm-hmm.
because it has that resistance there that your needlepoint side has. So you don't usually have a tremendous issue with that. So funny, once you start putting the seam on here, it finally starts to decide to have an edge. Go figure. And, I know that there's people out there going, well, Kelly, if you just do the self-weld, you could potentially have been done by now. But, nope, I'll just do the handwork. It'll look a little different, but I'll just do the handwork. Sometimes things just don't make sense to your brain. I did discipline myself and teach myself how to do the insert and how to do a boxed pillow. Neither of them have self-welds. Not happening. Because it was hard enough just teaching myself to do those in a way that my brain would accept. It's just like, yeah. But one of the ladies that helped me when I first started, she did rugs, huge rugs, and she did pillows, and she's like, oh, I would do pillows all day long. They're gravy. And I was just like, fine, send me your ornaments, because I cannot stand the self-welt. Oh my goodness. The air can, I know, I'm going to complain for a minute here, but
You don't tell me your air conditioning is on?
the barn gets so hot when the sun hits it at the end of the day. And so I turned the air conditioning on earlier and it's not working. So it's like, if I start sweating to death, sorry, it's not hot flashes. It's that my barn, my lovely studio, is just hot from the day's 72-degree weather.
That's all right. It's going to get cold Monday morning.
Gorgeous.
Going back to the 50s.
It was gorgeous outside, though. I was like, I'm not going to wish it away, but at the same time, it's like, sheesh, I got a class coming up.
Yeah, no, it was a really pretty day.
I had to laugh 2 days ago, I had to take my daughter to urgent care because she had an ear infection. She was all wobbly. And the one in Osterville is closed for the season. The urgent care that they have, that's a pop-up thing. But online, it said that it was open.
Yeah.
So we went there, and we're driving, and you know, she can't keep her eyes open very well because it's just making everything swim. And she goes, "This is like some psychotic fall leaf peeping trip that we're on," because we were driving all over creation. She's like, forever. And she goes, "The trees are gorgeous. Oh, but I feel like I'm going to get sick from looking at them." It's just like, it was hilarious. I was just like, I'm sorry, dear.
The ear infections were going around this weekend. My grandson, so Mia came to sleep over Sunday night, because Monday was her, and she stayed with us at the hotel. But we were going to take both of them, and I looked at Caleb, and he could just barely. He's 2.5, and he could just barely keep his eyes open, and he was like falling over. I was like, "Morgan, what is the matter?" Because I think he's sick. They were in urgent care in Natick with a double ear infection. I was like, "Yeah, you can keep him. It's okay. I'll take the other one."
I used to say that about my kids. If they're falling asleep, there's something wrong with them, you know? Because usually it's, "No, I don't want to go." "Oh, go to bed." So, you know, yeah, you definitely.
We're sitting in the restaurant. All of a sudden, I realize Caleb is gone, and he's on the bench, sound asleep.
Oh, the poor baby.
I felt so bad. I was like, "You guys have to take him home."
Well, that's all the better for the other one. Alone time with
yeah.
Grandma.
Oh yeah.
Woo woo. Almost there, guys. Almost there.
So, are you only painting Nana on your canvases, the red and white canvases that you did?
Well, somebody wants me to do a Mimi now.
No, that's goofy.
Careful, this goes to the.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to block it out. Sorry.
I sell this video, young lady. Be careful. Oh. Oh my goodness.
Have you noticed that there's been a lot of requests for finishing on the self-finishers?
No, if they are, they're not supposed to do that.
No, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I just meant, should we start another group?
You can, if you want to make it an open forum for come here to find finishers. I don't want, the reason we don't do that on the group is because I don't want to guarantee somebody's quality of work.
Yeah. No, I just meant so that we can share info a little bit, like critiquing kind of stuff. As opposed to that's great. I mean, which everybody's stuff is really doing. I mean, everybody's doing really great stuff, but it would help to be able to post something and go, so what is this, or
Well,
what would you do with this, or what would you do with that, or
Well, I think the toughest part of that is that pictures are so easy. You can't see all the sins in a picture, and so that's why I show the good, bad, and the ugly in my videos, is because I have to rip it back out again if this is happening or if this is happening. And I never claim to be perfect because I have stuff all the time that looks wonky and that I have to go back. I just, it's tough because you can't, you don't want to have somebody not want to be in the group because people were too ugly.
No, I know. It's like, what's the happy medium between, like somebody posted something today, and it was really pretty, and it was just about, twisting the cording a
Oh, I
little bit.
saw that.
So, and I felt, I started to take it down, and I was like, no, I don't think that was mean. I think it was
No,
just
I thought,
constructive.
yeah.
So, but I mean, stuff like that. That
No, I think that we should be able to say things like, just remember, cording naturally wants to unfurl,
right,
untwist itself. Um, but yeah, I mean, one lady had the last time we had an issue with somebody being really negative. I mean, that was terrible. The lady messaged me and apologized and said, I don't want to start any controversy. I just wanted some suggestions on how to actually do better courting. And
right.
the lady was really,
I saw that one. Yeah, she was
and, people were
very
like,
judgmental. Yeah,
well, and, that no one there weren't any decent videos out there. And it's like, wait a minute,
yeah,
and just saying. And it's like, that didn't need to be said because that's not true. Just because you don't like the videos don't mean that they're not a good wealth of information. So, she felt so bad. She's like, oh my gosh, I won't ever. And I was like, you will ever. I said, you get right back on there. I said, that is not, so it's so hard in a group like that because then you have these people that they, it's not that I don't mind criticism. It's just that some of these people are so new that you don't know how to.
right. That's why I almost took that down, because she said it was her first thing, and I was like, I just wish somebody had said stuff, because everybody wants to pat you on the back and go, "Oh my God, you're doing really well." That's
Right,
fine, but how do I move it to the next
right.
level? Like, how do I make it better? Not that there's anything wrong with this one, but
Informational. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well, and maybe it's a thoughts, critiques, and put it that way so that people know that you're going to get feedback that is,
yeah.
but then it's like, I don't know. It's so hard
It
to
really is.
have a group.
Everybody, they're from so many different places and so many
Right.
different. Yeah, it's just such a good group. I mean,
It is. It is. But see, I mean, I went to art school and you had to sit through critiques
oh yeah,
that
oh yeah.
weren't always kind.
My
And it
brother was an
was,
architect, and they were horrible.
yeah,
They were like vicious.
yeah.
And
And it's like, for me, it doesn't bother me because I had a teacher in the very beginning who said to me, don't fall in love with your work. Your work is not who you are at this point. You are learning skills. So, you know, the classroom things are for you to learn on. If you go home and you do something that you love, great. But don't,
it doesn't
then it's
define.
then it's for you.
Yeah,
But when you're here in school, and he gave the speech to everybody, when you're here at school, we're going to tell you our perception of it, and you can take from it what you want. It doesn't mean the only person, though, that you had to please was the teacher, because he did your grading. So, yeah, it doesn't bother me when people critique my work. If I'm offering, if I'm saying, hey, what do you guys think? XYZ. I don't offer that up anymore. I don't ask for.
Critiques.
Yeah.
Well, a couple times I've said to, the two places that I've been trying to do some finishing for, and I was like, you have to give me, if somebody didn't like something, even if they were okay with it and they kept it, like if they would have rather looked.
Oh yeah.
You have to tell me. Don't. You're not going to hurt my feelings. It's just.
If I don't know, I can't fix it.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, you're not fine. My ego might be a little wounded, but
Definitely my ego gets wounded.
But I want to make sure that it's better. And even if they haven't seen it yet,
right,
please, please let me know if you see something. And maybe that's where what you do with the group. If you did a group, is do a professional finishing group. How do I get better or want to be a pro? Help me hone my skills. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's not just a.
How many threads thick was that one?
So this was the same as the other one. It was 20, 20, and 20. So it was 60 total. And it was that much thicker. It's crazy. So we put this is one of the reasons why I do the little arrow dart on the end of these, so that I can take my dowel needle and push it into the hole that we left there.
Right.
And now I look to see, so I always put my needle point on this side,
right,
so that I'm always coming into my cording from the back side. So if the fishing line's ever seen, it's on the back side and it's not going to be as obvious. But we want to run that fishing line right in between the twist. So I don't know if you guys can see.
And it catches the core of the twist. And then
So it's going right through the twist, yep, in the core. We're bringing it back about a half an inch. So it's a nice long piece. Oh, I hate black. Can't see squat.
You gotta try stitching it.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I don't stitch.
I know.
But it makes me just as exhausted trying to use like this. The eye fatigue I get when I'm doing that is ridiculous. So now, see how far it is there?
Okay.
And I'm going to bring it all the way back to. So I'm actually kind of overlapping, and I'm going in through the needle point, out through the into the lining. So I'm curving that needle back. Okay.
Yep.
And so it looks like I'm taking big chunks, but I'm kind of not. And I always hold the needle point back here and tug, 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 so that there's resistance against it and it doesn't just gather up. And this is the other reason why just clipping on the cording doesn't work, because I have to be able to manipulate it and turn it so it's kind of always tight as I'm going around, keeping that same length. I'm just hoping this isn't too big according compared to the last one I did for her. Not that this guy will care. He won't give two shakes about it. Other than, look, I have a stocking.
I'm only
What?
50 years old. It took my entire life to get a stocking.
Well, this is for the new nephew-in-law.
Oh, so he's new to the family?
Yeah,
So,
they just got married this summer. The wedding that I did down.
oh, yeah, the one you did this summer?
Yep.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, actually, there's one for each of them
Get out of here.
because they both got married. Two nieces got married this summer. One in the spring and one in the fall.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nutty. But
Wait, the same parents?
yep, both their daughters got married the same year.
Talk about going bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, you know. They did a small, very small one for the spring one with a private room, just a private little dining room, because there was like 12 people that went to the one at Chatham's Bar Inn.
Yes. That's where that was?
No, that was at the Lighthouse Inn.
We looked at the Chatham's Bar in for Morgan.
Yeah.
She wanted to get married up on the Cape. And we sat through the meeting, and I was like, Morgan, you can have 3 people at your wedding. And she didn't get married.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my heavens.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She wanted to get married in October. And I was like,
And well, I mean, it's off season, so that you.
not off season anymore.
No, I know it's not. I was just gonna say that it used to be off season, but now they figured out the whole on season off season gig. So, nope.
Yeah, so unless you're willing to get married in the middle of a snowstorm, it's on season.
Yep. But I mean, it was just like the captain's room. It was nice and intimate and no big. But the one at the lighthouse was the lighthouse inn. I forget. But it's definitely old Cape. It's like the old family. I akin it to like the Dirty Dancing campgroundy kind of place.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, with the main hall and the little cottages, and it's very quaint.
Yeah.
Um,
This summer while we were there was one of the weeks. It was one of the weeks it wasn't so bloody hot.
yeah,
And there was a wedding in Chatham.
yeah,
They did the wedding down on the green.
yep.
I was cracking up. There's all these people in long gowns walking around town with drinks in their hand, like going from. This is like being in Key West. They were all like open carry, and I was trying to figure out where the actual reception was going to happen. They were all just walking around. It was pretty fun.
Well, my friend that works at the flower shop, she went over to Nantucket Columbus Day weekend, and she goes, I got over there. She's from there. She was born and raised there. She goes, I got over there, and she goes, I just went, what the heck is going on over here? And I said, yeah, it was crazy busy at the flower shop this weekend because I was babysitting on Saturday, the shop. And outside in the garden center, it was just crazy. Well, didn't even think about it being a 3-day weekend for a majority of the people.
Yep.
And, it was the last hurrah. She goes, Kelly, they had 40 40 weddings on Nantucket this weekend.
Holy Toledo.
She goes, if you figure that it's 125 people per wedding, that's a lot of extra people on that tiny little island.
And a lot of people on that ferry.
Yes. Yes. She goes, it was nuts. She goes, you couldn't hardly get in anywhere. You couldn't get around town very well. And, you know, her sister lives over there, so she, you know, has a car available to her. But, you know, the majority of the people don't. You know, they're taking the little taxis and the bikes and
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Nice weekend though.
It was. She said it was so much fun. All right. I keep twisting that because I feel like that loop is being weird.
Does it feel like it's thick?
Oh,
Extra thick, I mean?
oh yeah. Where that loop is? Absolutely. I think it's just because
I feel like it's turning the
it's probably just because the sheer thickness of that loop that it is making it turn a little bit. But I will say that it is the foam core is kind of kicking on that corner. So I'm not surprised that it's pushing it out a little bit.
Okay.
But I also think that it's because of how it's sewn. It probably would have laid a little differently if I had hand sewn it. But I still like it because it is sewn. So there is one, not that I don't do a good, you know, stitch, but still it is kind of nice to have that.
Secure.
So now when we come here, we're going to head down the side. So we want to cross. So when this comes up, it'll go to the back and around.
So you're not going to need to join.
No, there's no marrying.
Oh,
Nope.
good.
Nope, nope, nope. Love the no marrying.
Yeah, really.
That's another thing where it's just like, ugh. I'm not doing tricolor on this. Solid red. That was her choice.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't me being a jerk going, I'm not doing that.
You being a prima donna.
Yeah, exactly. I think that might be better once I put the cording in there too. It's
Yeah,
being a little wonky because of the hole being there. I just realized that as I started to go that way. Am I off?
No, you're back on.
It's interesting what the cording does to the seam as well, because it lends it to giving it a lot of structure as you're sewing this down.
Right.
And it makes it open. Again, I go mainly through the needle point at this point because I don't want to create pull marks or pucker marks on the velveteen, the velvet, pseudo velvet, whatever you want to call it. But it is really, because it's not velour, you know, but it has that really lush nap to it. Because sometimes I feel like certain of the cotton velveteens have a really short nap that is not really that thick. And that's why it ends up scarring the way that it does. Sorry, this is kind of blowing out the
Looks pretty good.
All right.
I think
Well,
the dark pants are helping too.
the
Your dark pants.
yeah, sometimes I wonder if I shouldn't be wearing tan so that it's,
No, no, I
I
think
don't know,
it doesn't. The light doesn't bounce off of them. It, you know,
absorbs. Yeah. So, again, see, I'm going
uh-huh.
in, out. Just be careful when you're going along the seams that you don't pop the sewing machine stitching. It does happen. And even though it's easier to control, like on a stocking, because it is not stuffed, when you pop one on a stuffed thing, it's like the guts come pouring out, blah, 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 and you got to really grab a pin fast and stop the stitches from unraveling. But there are times where I have done it on these, and it's like you just put a quick knot in it and sew it with the fishing line
So
quickly.
when you made the cording for that, to do that many layers or that many strands, and that length, how much? How do you decide how much additional length you need before you start to straighten? Before you start to
I end up doing more. So I figured about 10 feet I needed to do about 10 feet of cording. So if you watch the cording video, I like
that was yeah,
tape measure it out around the outside with a cloth tape, and don't forget to double the end that is the top.
right.
And then, it came out to need something like 50 inches, 52 inches. But knowing that I go from 36 to 28 on a standard,
Right.
um, that I'm going to need quite a bit more. I will be way over on this one because I just stood up at my 6-foot blocking table and went around and around and around because it was faster to do it that way. So I will have a lot left over on this, I think. Whereas I did the exact same, close to the same thing. I think it was this table to the side is 68 inches. And then I doubled it because I only cut the one end. Did the same thing on the 6-footer. So that made 12 foot of cording. Man, that bean boot, it's it's close. It's close to not having enough of that burgundy. And I thought, oh, I'm going to have plenty for this. So, I tend to go, well, I need 10, I'm going to do 12.
Right.
Because I just have had too many times where it was too close, and oh, the anger and the tears and it's always like when you're on your very last nerve that something like that happens.
So can you marry the cord, or do you have to start all over?
No, you got to start again.
Yeah.
Because you can't cut a hole in the side of your stitching. How would you marry it?
Mm.
Put a hole in the seam, and nope. You just and you don't overturn as you're going around the piece. Don't keep cranking it tight. Keep it a looser if you think it's going to be close.
Right.
I'm going to knot this off. This doing cording eats up a lot of fishing line. So I'll probably have to do this probably 3 times. And I don't do longer and longer pieces because all it does is become a spaghetti mess that
Yeah.
will make you crazy, and so it's just not worth it. Always put your needle in and leave a long tail underneath. Boop, just like that. So whose stocking are you doing? You're doing the toppers? Is this what
I'm
you're...
doing the toppers from mine, but somebody asked me if I would do their stocking because they weren't going to get it back from,
Uh-huh.
the other place till next year.
Yep.
So I said, well, I think Kelly's doing a video, so yeah, I'll do it. So I don't have it yet.
Well, it's
I figured it was close enough to the mini stocking, and I've done a bunch of those, so I thought.
it really is. I mean, and it's not like you don't know basic sewing. I mean, this
Right.
is all just basic, machine, turn it out, go to town,
Right.
It's just, it's time consuming. And
Well, did you see somebody posted a video with the proverbial self-welting, but there were like 40 pictures on her posting,
yeah.
and it was so confusing. I was like, all right, maybe I'm underthinking this. Maybe I really need to. Anyway, so
Well, no. It is, when you're first looking at it, it's like, oh, dang,
yeah.
But the problem with most of the videos that you'll find, and actually, who said, somebody was talking about it the other day. Was it Chris Armstrong? Or was it, I forget who it was now, dang it. Someone was asking about doing an inset with self-welt. And I posted my inset. This is how I do an inset because trying to do miter corners, made me crazy. But she had a pillow video. For some reason, the list that used to be the topics button has disappeared.
Yeah, somebody said that.
Yeah. I was like,
They said they could only get it on their computer. They can't get it on their phone.
oh, they did get it on their computer. Good.
I think that's what I saw. Somebody said, "Oh, yeah, I can only get it on my computer."
Well, at least somebody. This happened like in 2020 too,
Yeah, yeah.
as well, because that's kind of how I got involved in this. Is Ellen that started the group was like, I can't find this. I can't, because they were switching everything over to the meta universe, and they were messing with everything and making life difficult for people that had these groups and pages. So, so it had happened before. I just haven't had time to look at it because, I mean, I'm doing master paintings during the day for the show in January, and then we have another show in March. And, it's like, oh my goodness.
I was surprised. Isn't Market in Dallas this week?
Yeah, this weekend. Yep.
Oh, I was surprised you guys weren't all there.
No, she's only doing the virtual.
Oh, because she
So,
didn't want to be in public yet, or
no, she just,
she just likes
she
it?
does well enough without going. So,
Yeah,
she just hasn't been doing it. I don't know that that's a forever thing, but,
yeah.
especially now that the painters are finally catching up. So, we're not having to wait months upon months to get things back.
So when you paint a master, you keep that's your property, right?
No.
And then you,
No.
no?
No. It's a service that I provide.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's somebody else's artwork. It's not my artwork. It's Will Bullis or Scott Church or so it's the painting that goes off to the because they don't know how to paint on needlepoint canvas. So the painting,
so they design something and they aren't the ones who know how to paint it onto canvas?
right?
Oh.
Scott Church has a greeting card company, and Christine saw his work and she got a hold of him to license it for needlepoint, and so she has licenses with all of the artists that she represents, she distributes. So they're artists that do not know anything about needlepoint.
Well, I can tell, yeah, you can read, never mind, that was snarky, I can't say that. You can tell who knows needlepoint and who doesn't, because
Yeah,
some of them are just so hard to stitch.
right. And well, and that's the issue, and that's why when I do the Kate Reese, she's the one with the jellyfish and the
Oh,
snails
yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
They're all counted and stitched painted because they're so precise, and people want to make sure that if they're doing a stitch,
Mhm.
they
Yeah.
can do it on all of them. So I'm very precise in that kind of stuff. It lends to a lot more counting, which I hate. But if you're going to have it be quality and be able to be recognizable once it's stitched. Ooh, lettering. I mean, come on. Some of the
Oh.
lettering we see out there, there's no way it's stitchable. I mean,
I was gonna say, I looked at it and I'm like, you look at some of it and you're like, you can't do that.
yeah, they're
They
right
don't.
next to each other.
Yeah.
They're on the same stitch line. But,
Yeah.
you can tell the people that are stitchers that are creating these things. Absolutely. But, we can also tell the people that actually make a model of something that they're doing that's potentially a 3D piece.
It doesn't work.
So another friend of mine called me and she's like, "What the heck? I have a penguin. It's got a front and a back to it, and they don't match."
I did a ghost that the same thing. I did the front and the. It was when I was newly stitching, like 30, 40 years ago. But I did it just assuming that it they'd already figured that out. And I go to put them together. I'm like, these aren't even close. Like,
No, no. And she goes, "If I make it fit for the way the head is, then the bottom is so askewed." And I said, you pick a side, and the other side is the one that loses all the stitches. I said, you just fold it all over and you just go for it. I said, there is no, I said, this is, they don't know. They don't realize that the front and the back has to be the exact same profile and the exact same stitch count. And that's why I say that about ovals.
oh god. Oh, by the way, that really did come out well. Finally,
Oh,
I meant to.
good.
I meant to send you a picture of it. I was like, oh, only took me 4 months.
But that is the problem with ovals,
Yeah.
is that if they aren't counted out right, all it takes is a little bit, and the ends are not at the same stitches. It's crazy.
And when it was painted, it looked like it was painted right,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Until you tried to put it together.
right, and then it was blocking. So I didn't realize how tightly she'd stitched it until I looked at, and when you showed me the how to do the run the line,
Yep.
it's like, oh my gosh, this is so off.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. These are the things that when you start finishing, and we have to be so careful when we're designing that it is going. I mean, you wouldn't believe the paper models I went through to make my new line.
For the ornaments?
Yeah, I made.
They're really cute, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I made paper models, and then I sent them out to Diane Shearer, who then stitched them. And then, once I had proven that it does work after it's stitched, that's when I said, okay, I can go ahead and release this. Because before that, it was like, I'm not taking the chance. If this doesn't stitch up right, I'm not doing it. I'm not having a bunch of stuff out there that looks like junk.
It's hard to believe that was only a year ago.
Right? Not even.
Yeah.
It was the spring. But yeah, the epiphany came right before Christmas. Yep. And this week and next week is time to get those videos done for people to make them themselves, and because I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, really.
But I have.
So you don't have like 2 weddings to do next weekend?
No, I told everybody. Sorry, guys. No more helping doing that. I'm sorry. I got other stuff to get done, but
I'm becoming famous, and I have to turn into a diva, and I
just can't. No pictures, no autographs. Yeah, right. Someone said that to me. Oh, you're becoming so famous. I'm like, really? No, I don't think so. Bunch of needlepoint ladies. No. The bunch of needlepoint ladies are not. They are a group, but you're not going to find that kind of prolific. The joke was, so I got an email from a company that looks on YouTube and stuff, and they're like, we think your content would be perfect for joining our website where people can get pay X amount per year and come in and see your stuff. And I was like, look, if HGTV gives me a call, then I'll think about it. But until something like that, I'm just going to help people learn how to finish.
So the ads that are on YouTube,
they put them in. I don't have anything. I don't get anything out of any of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No.
Oh, I thought that was how some of them.
No, that's unless you get like sponsoring whatever, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to look into it, but.
Yeah, but you have so much time.
Yeah, thank you. And it's like, as I'm sitting here painting, so I painted a new. So some of the sports teams have changed their names to more appropriate names.
Yes, I couldn't figure out who the game was. I was like, are the Guardians like a AAA league? Like, who are they?
Yep, no, it's the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, I was like, excuse me, but what happened to the Atlanta Braves? They didn't have to change their name.
Well, not yet, they haven't.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I actually just laid out that ornament, the Cleveland Guardians, today, because
that's not gonna fit.
it's just their logo, just the pictures.
Oh, just the logo.
Yeah, no, not on a 4-inch ornament, but so it's things like that, and Ole Miss, and they were ordered, so I'm trying to get those out of the way, get the masters done, and etc.
So you paint a master, and then you send it out. Then you send it out to the
painters. And they are the ones that paint the repeats. Yep. Because during this past year, when things were still so far behind, I was doing the repetitive painting.
Oh, geez.
of like onesies. You know, they want one of this or one of that. And then there were some that were not one ofs. And I was like, I do not want to have to do this again. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is why I have a distributor who uses the painters, that I don't have to do this, because I'm going to lose my eyesight and my mind. The new the new Giants ornament, that's only topper that's only available, an exclusive through Larchmont. I did
Yeah.
2 so that she could get stitching one. Ugh.
I saw it. Yeah. I didn't see it. We were talking about it.
I wanted to lose my mind by the time I was done with the second painting of it. I was just like, ah, this is crazy.
So
So
does she have it yet?
she has one to stitch. It's not in yet.
Oh,
It'll be in January.
that's what she was saying. It wasn't going to be in for Christmas.
Yep.
Because that one I would stitch. That one and the gnomes.
I love the gnomes. We finally got, Diane has been so kind to do so many for me, but we found someone else to do the gnome one, only because I know that Diane still has a lot of gifts to get done. And so she's like, well, how fast does it have to get? I was like, it doesn't, the hydrangea one. So can you see how it's poofing out as
I can a little bit, yeah.
That's what then I think is nice about the cording. It gives it a different kind of structure.
Well, it makes it look like a sock.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not, not that one that has self-welt is flat, because I'm not saying that at all, because there's so much material in that seam.
Yeah.
There's no way it can be flat. But yeah,
It's cute.
it is. So I mean, it kind of does this on, the mini stocking too,
Yeah.
but it just really definitely gives it that volume. Yeah, I forgot where I was, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It was probably not important.
Oh, we were talking about Diane stitching. Does she stitch really fast?
Oh, so that, the hydrangea one,
Yeah.
a week,
That one's cute. That one's really cute.
a week,
A week?
a week.
Oh my God.
She loved it so much. She just sat there and done in a week. I just was shocked. And she also did the Santa band. She cranked that right out for me so that I could have that sample for. And the mermaid one she did in a week.
Oh, she did the mermaid one?
Yep. Yep. And that one with the bullion for the hair.
Yeah.
She messaged me that night after she got done with it, and she goes, I need a drink after that hair.
Yeah. Bullion knots are like.
I just was laughing. I was like, well, take a rest. Don't. She goes, no, I'm getting this done. She's so cute. But, yeah, I just, the Easter egg one, and, I got another one of those from Larchmont. And this time it's just a ball ornament, regular round. And I'm so excited because it's so cute. This person stitched it, and that's what I love about seeing
Stuff
done and how, because everybody likes different stitches. They're always a little different. And I don't care if it's just basket weave or, everybody uses different fibers. And
Right.
so it's really fun to see all of them coming in. But, I think I'm debating on that one of using using a clear ornament and then putting Easter grass in it for the
Oh, that's
color.
cute. That would be, yeah, like that green or
Right.
what was the primary
It's
overriding color on the
it's
picture?
kind of I like the pale pink with the piece. I have one an egg that had a pale pink gingham with it, and pink just really kind of set it off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna test them, because I just fill the glass thing and then plop it on and see how it looks. And then I have Diane got done the O Tannenbaum one,
Uh-huh.
and I think I'm gonna put a um, matte gold ball in that one. I'm still debating on what to do for the lobster and crab one that have the buoys on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just feel like, so the hydrangea one, I think it needs to be something really simple because it's just like so outstanding stitching.
Mm-hmm.
But with the buoy one, I'm just kind of torn on.
It's so busy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of color, and, I've been trying to think of all kinds of really cool things to do, and it's like, but I don't want to take away. I really like letting people's stitching shine and
What
not
about this? What about just plain sand inside of it?
get too heavy. So I've been trying to think of ways to kind of make that work.
What if you add some clear so that you sand the inside of the ball instead of painting it? Like
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly. Oh, sugar. See? It
Sorry.
does come, the line does come out on me as well. It does happen to me too. And of course it's right when I was trying to pull a knot. But yeah, I mean I've thought of all of that, and then I thought of just like I actually thought of going to the Sandwich Glass Museum. They sell hand blown ones.
For
Um
$800 a pop.
no they're not. They
They're
are
not?
not. They're like 25 bucks.
Really?
Yeah, the Christmas balls? Yeah.
Well, I thought they were really expensive.
No. The individual glass pieces get really expensive.
Well, yeah.
Like the statuey kinds of things, but um and seeing if they had kind of just taking it in and wrapping one around it, make sure it fits,
Mm-hmm.
but also just to kind of look at the different colors of, because I was thinking royal blue, but then when it got here, I was like, because I thought if it was royal blue with a white rope edge, because I've got that roping for
Oh, right.
my lobster traps,
Mm-hmm.
that could be, a good transition. And this, so, the egg was really glitzy. Um, but this lady's a very simple person who stitched it. So she said, don't glam it up too much. And I said, I don't think I could actually
Yeah.
with the lobster trap on, or, the lobster and buoys. But yeah, so these are the things that keep me awake at night. Trying to figure out what I want to do and, how could I make this work? And then I found, I don't know if you remember these candles from the 70s. It used to be like really thick glass, and they would have a pillar candle on the inside and that was like poured in. And then it would
Uh-huh.
have like little glass beads on the outside And it
Right.
usually had a picture decoupaged underneath it or something. And so I was like, man, why can't I find some of those? Well, they're called microbeads. So I could do a clear over one of the clear ornaments and then put those micro beads on there because they're like crystally.
Right.
So to have some texture and some color, but I'd have to see how much it weighs afterwards. I like putting fiber inside of it.
It's light. Somebody made me a sea glass ornament, and it was really pretty. I forget where they got it someplace up on the Cape, and I put it on the tree, and it hit the ground, and the whole thing shattered.
See, that's the problem. I thought of doing sea glass, and that's where the microbead thought came in, was because I can't see. It's just too heavy. It'd
Yeah.
just be way too heavy.
You know the sea glass that they sell, in Michaels and
Yeah.
Joann? It would have to really be, pounded down into just
Dust. Yeah.
dusty.
Yeah. And then it's like, ugh. Then you're looking at potential sharp pieces, and I don't know. We just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Basically, you go all the way around the thing and you poke it in the hole in the back and you're done.
You're right.
You know, that's it. I mean, what are we at? Might go right to 9 o'clock with this sucker. They just, this is where, now I understand that not everybody sews on the cording and this takes a lot longer. But this is where the time comes from. This is why things aren't just, you know, I'm not a manufacturer in using fancy equipment that just kind of slaps stuff together.
Well, the other thing, putting ornaments together, most of the time that's involved in ornaments for me is sewing on the cording.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, unless it's something really, weird. But like, even when you were doing the unicorn unicorn
Yeah,
the other night, I initially I looked at it and I was like, that's crazy. She's never gonna be able to do that. And then as you broke it down, it was like, oh, okay, yes, you can do it.
yeah.
But um,
But look how long it took me to do it.
well, no, I understand that. Somebody made some comment about how long the videos are, and I was like, well, all right, but if you, like the first time I did one of the mini stockings, I literally turned the video on, and step by step, I have to stop it until I caught up with you, and then I would go to the next point, and then I'd stop it, and so they really are literally as if you were sitting there,
Right,
except you can't ask questions. But
right. But,
like,
this, and that's, oh, I saw the person that made that. I saw that post. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything.
I did.
I know that I knew other people would come. I knew other people would because
Yes.
that particular ornament is not easy.
No.
And if you want to, and you can do it with, I mean, look at how many finishers do that with the hole open, with the center open.
Yeah.
She's going to stitch it closed
Yeah.
because, then it's easier. Okay, that is an option. I've seen it. It looks weird to me, but okay. But
Well,
it's
then it's just a stocking. It's not a.
no. What I mean, the lady I saw was the one that was doing all of those candy cane ornaments.
Oh, right. So, all right. Well, this is you have to edit this out. So somebody gave me two candy canes, and there's one thread.
Yeah,
So all All right. So I looked at it and I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna have to keep it closed and just use the cording to make it look like a candy cane. Was that like off, or should I have cut into the threads?
I cut in.
You would?
Yeah, I did. I have.
I'm too chicken.
But I mean, but I understand. I mean, it's a valid way to deal with it because it is one thread. I mean, you can't even you you can't even. I mean, it's what one. You would have to cut the foam core so thin, so small. You number one, you'd have to use mat board.
Yeah, yeah. So I was
And
gonna put that board on it anyway, but yeah.
I mean, how do you cut down one stitch line? I mean, it's not even two stitches, so you can go in between.
In between, right? No, it was literally one thread,
Yeah.
and so I just said to her, "Listen, do you mind if I make it one, just one piece, and then just use the cording to delineate the loop,
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. So I said, next time, if you want to do more of these, do me a favor, just give me like the three threads,
Yeah. Well, and it requires them thinking before they stitch it to not stitch all the way up because there isn't going to be that much design lost by
No.
not stitching two rows.
No.
Just it'll look better. It'll, be easier for your finisher because that's not good. And again, it's someone designing something that is not a finisher. They're not,
Yeah, but it's Dangy, so you would have thought, how many thousands of freaking candy canes have they done? You know, I think it was the stitcher actually.
well, for the one, I think it was the stitcher.
Yeah.
For there'd only be one, because I can't believe Dangy would only leave one.
I mean,
I've
it's bad
seen
enough when they leave
three.
three. Right. I was gonna say it's bad enough when they leave three, but
I've seen the three, but okay. And yeah, it is not fun when we have the three.
all right. So that's just gonna lay over the top of the other
Yep,
one.
just like that. And we're going to bring it. Don't normally do this, but we go kind of right across. And we come into the needle point and we come up. Because we want this to come up and have a hard turn. So you got to put a couple extra little hold them in place stitches. This
Okay.
is kind of where it gets hard to hold it and
And keep it on the camera.
keep it so that it's not falling through to the floor.
You're off camera.
Better?
Yep.
Yes. Good. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to come through to...
Now, are you going to grab the other cording or just the needle point?
No, I think I am going to grab the other cording and pull it in so it kind of comes up a little bit out of its hidey hole here. Like this. We're going to come through here, which will then pull that tight to there. So we brought it up out of the hole to make this transition. We're going to come in there. And we're going to go right through into the Velveteen, whatever you want to call it. Because now we want to put in, give it a little twist. I'll make sure I'm going into the right set of twists. I'm going to come in there. I just went through. I have to back out a little bit because I can see my needle came out that lining side. We're going to come up into the velvet. Again, we have to be careful on not pulling too hard. Just, you know, it's like Goldilocks. Just right. Ugh.
So you'll treat the velvet now as if it were the needle point.
Correct. And I can see I've got a little pulling here with my fibers. I'll come back in a few minutes. There, that helped. But it's that corner. It's kind of getting bound up. Coming through those threads.
Well, is it also because the backing isn't as stiff as the needle point was?
It is, but this bend is making these fibers kind of like a long stitch would bow.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of raising up a little because we're pulling this fishing line through, maybe catching some fibers that are now going to look a little odd, but they just went back down, so we're okay. I'd like to have it come up like this, but that happens so that this would be on the front. But that happens when the toe is to the left. Because you can start here and go down that way. It's just how it falls sometimes. Trying to fish through here. Need to come back further. So I just went into the lining and back out. And I use my thumb and forefinger a lot to manipulate that needle to the way I need it to come back, directing it within. You gotta have that support or it's just not gonna. Needs that resistance to pull through. And now you're kind of able to get back to sort of bigger chunks. Back behind.
You don't want them so big that it deeps.
Exactly. Well, if you look at it, it looks like it's... Oh, bugger.
You're so good at not using expletives.
And when I'm alone, I don't. I try.
When I first started, my husband, I was like cursing all the time. My husband comes up and goes, "Are you sure you're having fun doing this?"
That's funny. Yeah, usually I save it for when I stab myself or I burn myself or I cut myself. But there are those moments.
Well, the other night I slipped the eye of the needle.
Oh no!
Back underneath my fingernail.
Oh my gosh! Straight
silly.
Needle or curved?
Silly. It was a straight needle.
I set you up for that, didn't I?
Totally.
See my thumb? is starting to hate me at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of pulling this. I'm not necessarily even pulling this. I'm pulling the fabric
Right.
so that any of the little pucker marks that might be there relax, and we can keep going forward.
See, if you gel your fingernails, then you can use your fingernail to push the needle through.
No.
Yes.
That is why you have a needle going up your fingernail. Oh my gosh, worst advice ever. Nobody follow that. I only have 3 people signed up for this class, so at least we aren't exposing too many people. Oh my goodness. Crazy. Oh. I have never had enough nail to ever do that because I am a nail biter as well.
So when Morgan got married, she made me go get my nails done. I'd never had a manicure before. So, because, with what I do, it was like my hands were in
Right.
stuff. So, she made me go get a manicure, and we went someplace in Massachusetts, and they did gel.
Oh.
Or acrylic or something. And anyway, by the time it came off, my nails had actually grown. I never had nails. And I bite my cuticles, I would bite my nails, everything. So I started gelling them then, and it was the only time they had been out from under gel was during COVID when
you couldn't get,
I couldn't get anybody, and I actually had to wear gloves for a while because we really weren't supposed to have gel on them in the first place. So I couldn't let anybody see that my gel was coming off.
Oh, yeah. Well, I use nail wraps, and they're nail polish, but you just stick them on.
Yeah, my oldest uses those. I'm not. She's good at stuff. I'm not really good at girl stuff. So.
Well, neither am I, but these, I was like, okay, I can do this. And yeah, some nights it's like, well, is it worth it? And it's like, well, yeah, because I don't have to do them for 2 weeks. I go to sleep with them having just put them on, and I don't wake up with big chunks out of them because the polish was still wet, and I'm not a big, I think it's pretty obvious, I'm not a big, high maintenance individual. So the one high maintenance thing I did of coloring my hair, which I colored myself, and I said if it ever gets to a higher ratio of silver versus dark, that's it. Well, my hair grows so fast, it just was not worth the effort. A week later, I can already see it coming through, and I just went, nope, done.
Yeah, my oldest started going gray at 18.
Oh.
So she has auburn colored hair, and I didn't know what gray hair looked like, or personally, because my hair is blonde and mine's gonna go white. But she went gray so early.
Yeah.
At 18, you don't want anybody.
No.
She's been coloring her hair since she was 18, and COVID taught her how to do her own hair.
Yeah. I mean, I did it, and I did it for a long time, but it was just like, I am done. It was just like, but I didn't like inch it out and have the big half and half just to keep my hair long. I just cut it all off. I cut it off so short, it was a buzz cut on the back.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's now been about a year. That's how long my hair is now.
Yeah.
And I haven't had it cut since. So, I mean, my hair grows really fast.
Well, mine is going white, but luckily everybody thinks it's highlights in the
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm not. just let it go white.
Yeah, I mean, mine does this weird thing, salt and peppery thing, and it's like really white on the top, and then it falls in a certain way, and you can tell that all the underside is dark. And it's like, I just don't even care anymore. I thought it was funny how the trend during with COVID and everything that
Right?
they started actually young people dyeing their hair white and gray, and it's just like, okay.
Well, did you see that guy out in California that got it's $1,000, I think, but he'll strip your hair um, white or silver. But I mean, I can't imagine stripping the color out of my hair, but
It'd have to be so harsh.
it is. I mean, and it takes all day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I know that with my one daughter, she wanted to do her hair blue, which
Um,
means, and she is a brunette. I mean, almost black hair. So we had to bleach it. Then we had to bleach it some more because if we did it when it was still yellow, it was going to be green. And so we just had to keep, and I didn't have enough because she had super long hair. It was just like, oh my gosh. And it's like, honey, and I tried to warn her. I said, this is going to make your hair like straw.
yeah.
And so now she has not had it for a very long time. So her hair is very healthy and, this beautiful dark brown. And she's like, I think and I just you better go to a professional because I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
Well,
Done.
one of the twins used to keep changing their hair color so people could tell the difference between them because they're identical. And so, one would have red hair, one would have blonde hair. So Morgan decides this last time she wants to have a rainbow in her hair.
Oh.
And so they did it. I mean, it took all day, but the guy said to her if she put purple in, that he couldn't guarantee it with unless she would let him bleach her hair.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Morgan, don't let anybody bleach your hair at this point. It's really going to turn into a straw.
Yeah, and that's exactly what. So my other daughter has blonde hair. All right, I'm trying to figure out. I can't get this to fall in the right spot. So I'm sorry, I'm struggling here when I'm so close to the end.
You can't get it to fall
In between a
away?
twist.
Oh.
It doesn't want to. It just is, and it's like, gosh, I should be able to have a little more fishing line laying down back in there. But nope, it was battling me. So, she's like, my hair used to be, white, blonde, and, I want it to be blonde. It's getting all brown. And I said, honey, I said, be careful. And she went and had it done. And then it started to get brassy, and then it was killing me. And then it started to get straw-like. And she's like, I have so many split ends. I said, that's the coloring.
It killed your hair.
Yeah. And so then recently when she went in, she had it it'd gotten long enough. She had it all chopped off, all the old yucky stuff, and go to fresh. And the girl was like, I love your natural blonde color. You shouldn't do that again. It was so funny.
Maybe she'll listen to her because they never listen to their parents.
Oh, no. Forget that.
Yeah.
But, okay, so now is where we have to stop and tie it off. I'm going to take that needle out because it'll end up on the floor.
Okay.
And I kind of measure it by ending, putting the fishing line about there.
You're off camera.
The fishing line
Oh, okay.
about there.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just the other side of where the cord is. That's gone down the side. And yes, we will be hot gluing the end of it because we want to make sure that it stays together when we doll needle it down in there. I think I left a big enough hole in there. It shouldn't be an issue.
The other night, I decided that I was going to try hot gluing it instead of using the tacky glue. So I put the fishing line on and went to put the hot glue on, and the fishing line broke.
Wow.
And the whole thing unraveled.
Oh my gosh. No.
Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
second time went better, but
Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
right. So I go to do that, right? And I actually must have nicked the fishing line.
Yep. I was going to say, you got too close.
Yeah.
So you melted it and it popped off.
And it popped right off. And then the whole thing went.
See, those are the moments where the expletives fly.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yes, I'm wetting my fingers. I'm not using my... because I still have not gotten my paddle pliers out of my workbox. Let me just get it as flat as we can.
You know, when I saw you using the paddle pliers, I realized that my daughter used to make jewelry.
Yep.
And I'm like, she must have something like, sure enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have them.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love jewelry making. They use lots of pliers and lots of... these are needle noses that are for jewelry making because they're completely round. There's no flat side to them. That's where you twist wire with. Okay, so now we take the doll needle. Make sure it's a chunky one. Don't get the cheap ones like I got the last time. They weren't cheap, but they definitely weren't thick as I wanted for class. Only push it down in. Alright, and then...
what else works is darning needles. For those people who are knitters, the thick darning needles work.
Yep.
Very well.
It is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see that this dries your skin out so much. It's ridiculous. Just looking at the cracking on my fingers going, ugh. So I'm coming up through the twist, and because I can't really see, I want to kind of just going rogue, putting it through. Right. And just like we did on the other side, I'm going to come right through these twists. And I'm going to, because you got to make sure they're going to slide through. I'm grabbing a little, not even grabbing the needle point. I'm trying to go back through without hitting anything so that this pulls back like that and closes that gap. And then we're going to come right into this twist. See if I can. We're going to grab. See, this is where our seam should be. We're going to pinch that. And I'm going to grab into this lining. And I'm going to come back through. I'm trying to get right through the meat of the needlepoint waist canvas and the side seam and just get it all pulled together nice and tight right there.
Mm-hmm.
And bring it around. And it kind of closes that back side off. So part of my issue with this is I did not get this back piece as far over as I needed to within the top. I mean, really nothing I can do about it at this point. But let me see if I can grab some more of this and pull it forward. I don't think I can. I can see a stitch right there. We're going to manipulate it with the dowel needle in a second. So I'm going to do a knot. 1, 2, pull it down, pull it through. I hope that this hook is long enough. This hanger might be a little short.
Yeah, but you know what? If you make them too long, then they move
That-
around in the mantle and stuff.
That's my opinion as well, but you know, we'll see what the person says. Okay, so now we just pull it through. Bugger. I just want my nice long tail to go through so I can end my knot. And then hopefully sink that little bit of, yeah. Okay. We cut it and we're done. Yay! We're done, we're done.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, pull this up.
Now you can go home and have dinner.
Right? Go home and have a drink and go to bed.
So how come you're not using your own needle point? I mean, your own pincushion that you made.
Which
you use a felt tomato?
because that was a customer's.
Oh shoot! Oh really?
Yeah. That wasn't for you. Mean the one I needle felted the core?
Yeah.
No, that was a customer's. Yeah.
You seriously take out your aggressions on all that needle felting.
I know. I loved it. I loved it. I also bloodied myself quite a few times, but totally, absolutely fun. So, if we look at the back,
Looks good. Now, will you steam it again or not?
nope. Nope.
Okay.
This is one thing you'll notice when you are doing the cording is see how it kind of, it wants to roll, naturally wants to roll to the interior. And we let it. And we let it close off the gap. The same thing happens on the mini stockings. Let's take this out of the toe so it doesn't get chipped off. But I don't know.
Ta-da!
I might steam it again. Just for kicks and giggles. But for the most part, no. I mean, I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And let's see. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Yeah, I'm not going to bother trying to re-steam that and block it because at this point,
Yeah, it doesn't want to be in there.
yeah, but I mean it does have because the bend was in the in that foam core and I was kind of bending it like this. That's why I will go ahead if my stupid iron would ever give up. But so this video won't be posted for a couple days, just saying, because I got to finish the cording on the other one so I can post the class.
Post both of them?
Yeah, I'll probably, but I can't have it looking like one nephew-in-law got one and one isn't going to get one. So I will post probably all three of them because they all need to be done because they're getting together soon. But it really wouldn't matter.
Yeah. Tell them not to look.
Actually, I think both of the nieces, since I did both of the weddings, are on my Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. But no, I'll get the boot done tomorrow and then I'll post it while I sit at home and I got to take, yeah, and drink, yeah. And drink with a needle in my hand, sewing cording on. All right, you guys, thank you very much for taking my class. I hope that this video helps you, even though 90% of it is just sitting and sewing it on. The foam core is probably my favorite trick as far as being able to give yourself support and being able to handle it and not having it become too skewed and manipulating and losing your all of your beautiful blocking that you did. So have a good night, Robin.
Thanks, Kelly.
I'll
Bye.
talk to you soon. Bye.